A pleasant evening to you and welcome to this week's first edition of Primetime News. I'm Salima Shimwe-Feleni. We would like to sincerely apologize to our viewers for the break in airing the bulletin. This was due to a system upgrade. We are nevertheless glad to be back. In our lead story tonight, we begin with diplomatic matters. The United States of America's ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, on Friday paid a courtesy call on President Dr. Hage Geingob to discuss issues surrounding sovereign equality and climate change.
A statement issued by the presidency on Sunday said Thomas-Greenfield and Geingob met alongside the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Geingob informed the ambassador that Africa has gone through different waves, and Africa today is markedly different, with a third wave of leadership placing greater focus on democratic governance. Geingob noted, "It is African leaders who, through the African Union and regional organizations, condemn a coup d'etat and unconstitutional changes of government in member states." The president emphasized the importance of the principle of sovereign equality in Namibia's pursuit of an independent foreign policy. It further said with regards to climate change, Geingob and Thomas-Greenfield agreed that more needs to be done to deal with the climate emergency through stronger partnerships between the public and private sectors. The statement said, the meeting also highlighted the US Mega Solar Initiative in Southern Africa as one that held tremendous potential for Namibia and the United States. The leaders further agreed on the need to deal with racial discrimination, including reform and improvement of the United Nations. The UN General Assembly is the main policy-making organ of the United Nations. The 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly opened on 14 September and ends today.
United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, in an address on the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons on Sunday, declared that nuclear weapons must be eliminated from the world and a new era of dialogue, trust and peace must begin. Xinhua gives us more.
Addressing the threat of nuclear weapons has been central to the work of the United Nations since its inception, said the top UN official. The Secretary-General noted, in 1946, the very first General Assembly resolution sought the elimination from national armaments of atomic weapons and of all other major weapons adaptable to mass destruction. The UN chief pointed out that although the total number of nuclear weapons has been decreasing for decades, some 14,000 are stockpiled around the world, which is facing the highest level of nuclear risk in almost 4 decades. Guterres said, "Now is the time to lift the cloud for good, eliminate nuclear weapons from our world, and usher in a new era of dialogue, trust, and peace for all people."
Back home on a somber note, the Namibian police force recorded 3 suicides over the weekend, according to a crime report issued on Sunday.
The deceased body was found around 1400 hours. The report said she was found hanging from a wire in her room. The police also reported that a 65-year-old man allegedly committed suicide by shooting himself with a hunting rifle also on Friday. The deceased was identified as Cornelis Johannes Dodds, and the incident occurred between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning at Farm Aup in the Khomas region. A 21-year-old man allegedly also committed suicide by hanging at a farm near the Hochveld settlement in the Ottosonjupa region on Saturday. The Namibian Police Force's weekend crime report said the deceased was identified as Manfred Kawandenge. Kawandenge was allegedly found hanging from a wire in his room around 8 o'clock in the evening on Saturday.
We would like to convey our condolences to the bereaved family. A 35-year-old man died instantly after he was allegedly stabbed multiple times by his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend at Swakopmund.
It is alleged that the incident took place at the DRC informal settlement between 4 and 5 in the morning on Saturday. According to the Erongo Community Police Commander of the Namibian Police Force, Inspector Lenny Shapumba, it is alleged that the 25-year-old female was sleeping at home with her boyfriend when her ex-boyfriend broke into her shack and started stabbing her with a knife. Shapumba stated when the boyfriend intervened and tried to stop him from stabbing her, the suspect turned to the deceased and stabbed him more than 10 times all over his body, causing his death at the scene. The suspect reportedly fled the scene but was arrested after the police was notified of the incident. The woman was taken to the Swakopmund State Hospital where she was in a serious but stable condition. The deceased was identified as Kamati Silvanus Kamati, whose next of kin have been informed of his death, and police investigations continue.
Stand by for your top roundup. In the business and economic segment, Belgium's Prime Minister Alexander De Croo on Friday paid President Dr. Hage Geingob a courtesy visit to discuss ways to deepen bilateral trade and investment relations between Namibia and Belgium.
A statement issued by the presidency on Sunday said De Croo paid the courtesy visit to Geingob on the margins of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. According to the statement, the meeting covered issues of international and domestic interest, including the need for global cooperation and action in order to tackle challenges such as climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic. Geingob emphasized the need to scale up climate-friendly technologies, especially green hydrogen, which could play an important role in decarbonization. The statement said with regards to the COVID-19 pandemic, both leaders agreed that more must be done in order to ensure that all countries, particularly those in the developing world, have equitable access to vaccines in order to save lives and ensure economic recovery. In response, De Croo reiterated Belgium's support for efforts to develop manufacturing capacity on the African continent and offered to expand the bilateral dialogue on COVID-19 related assistance to Namibia to include vaccines produced in Belgium. Further, Geingob and De Croo agreed to continue discussions on how to strengthen relations between Namibia and Belgium by putting in place a series of agreements which could boost bilateral cooperation and investments across various sectors, including agreements relating to double taxation.
Data published by the European Central Bank on Monday showed Eurozone money supply growth accelerated in August, while credit to the private sector slowed further. DPA has more.
The broad money supply M3 grew 7.9% year-on-year in August, following July's 7.6% increase. M3 was focused to advance 7.8%. Likewise, growth in the narrow measure M1 increased to 11.1% from 11% a month ago. As regards the dynamics of credit, data showed that credit to the private sector lodged an annual growth of 3.1%, slower than 3.4% increase in July. Adjusted loans to the private sector also grew at a slower pace of 2.9% after climbing 3% in July.
This sports news will follow after the economics roundup and the weather forecast. Welcome back. We begin with football. There was a time when a reunion between Lionel Messi and Pep Guardiola looked distinctly possible, but on Tuesday they will be on opposite sides again when Paris Saint-Germain play Manchester City in the Champions League. AFP gives us more.
Had it not been for Jack Grealish, perhaps things could have turned out differently. City announced the €100 million signing of Grealish from Aston Villa on 5 August, the same day Barcelona revealed Messi would not be staying at the Camp Nou. A year ago, when Messi tried to force his departure from Catalonia, City appeared the most likely destination. In the end, Barcelona prevented the 6-time Ballon d'Or winner from leaving then, and 12 months later, Messi was prepared to stay put until it became clear the financial mess at the Camp Nou meant he could not.
Moving on to the gentlemen's game, England all-rounder Moeen Ali on Monday announced he was retiring from Test cricket to focus on his white ball career, saying the format's intensity can be too much sometimes. Once more, AFP gives us this story.
The 34-year-old scored 5 centuries and took 195 wickets in cricket's longest format, including a top score of 155 not out and 5 5-wicket hauls. He said, "I want to play for as long as I can, and I just want to enjoy my cricket. Test cricket is amazing. When you're having a good day, it's better than any other format by far. It's more rewarding and you feel like you've really earned it. I've enjoyed Test cricket, but that intensity can be too much sometimes. I feel like I've done enough of it, and I'm happy with how I've done." Ali made his England debut in 2014, scoring a maiden Test century against Sri Lanka at Headingley that year. He made 35 runs and claimed 2 wickets in his final Test against India at the Oval earlier this month.
Your sports roundup is up next. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's bulletin. Much appreciated for tuning in. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe, like, share, and click on the notifications bell to stay up to date with the latest happenings locally and globally. Do add your comments as well in the comment section. From myself, Salima Shimwe-Feleni, and the entire production crew, it's good night.